You mentioned you made up your mind, but what were you coming from, and how did that feel to take the leap from doing something that maybe was, I think in your words you said, like a normal people thing or a normal job, into, really your passion, your creativity, your artistry. What was that like? Was it scary? Was it something that you knew you could do and you had no doubts?
You know what, man? I got no fear, bro. I didn't feel that feeling at all, man.
That's
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
like just kidding.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, bro. It was very scary, man. Like the feeling that you feel in your gut that it's all gonna work out, but at the same time, you don't know.
It's obvious that artistry, creativity is your passion. I guess two questions. I'll start with one is like, what's your style? What do you like to tattoo? If I said to you like, hey, here's my head, just go to town. What would it be if it was no holds barred? I just said, do what you want to do.
Dragon Ball Z.
Are you talking something about this very round head?
You're listening to Musings with Morales. Brought to you by Dialysis Education Services.
Hey everyone, it's Musings with Morales. I'm Morales, and I'm joined today by a special guest all the way from Portland, Oregon, Marvin Rivera, well-known tattoo artist and aspiring business owner. Well, I should say an established business owner, moving his business, scaling. I really had a lot on my mind today, and I just got back from a recent trip to the Philippines. First time ever going out in public with my sleeves up, Marvin. And, it's all thanks to you in this conversation about tattoos and startups. So welcome, Marvin. Would love to kind of hear your story, what you're doing today. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So Marvin, again, first time to the Philippines for me. I really was touched by this trip. It was a week-long trip. I got a little bit of time to take some leisure time, see the city or cities. Didn't get out to the provinces too much. Got a tattoo while I was there from my nephew, Jack Brizuela. And I was just really inspired by the overall culture of the Filipino. And I think I mentioned to you prior to us starting that I've had an attraction to the Filipino culture for pretty much my whole life, and it's obvious through my choice in my wife. I have also 4 beautiful children that are half Filipino, half Hispanic, half or I should say a quarter Hispanic, quarter white. But I really fell in love with the culture while I was out there, and one thing that has been a common denominator to our episodes is really looking at service and hospitality. And our producer Paco said to us, or maybe it was one of our guests one day, that the extra mile doesn't what was it, Paco? Doesn't cost as much. Doesn't cost anything, right? And I really saw that out in the Philippines, from everybody in the country, whether it be the people that helped us in the airport to the people that obviously, I spent a little leisure time and went to clubs and was well taken care of, even in the bathroom, to the people that were in the bathrooms. But I also found that in the tattoo culture in the Philippines. And, I know you're a Filipino. You've brought your business here to the United States in Portland, Oregon. What can you say about the Filipino culture and that extension of the extra mile in a business like you have? Maybe you could start off by telling us what you do, how long you've been doing it, and then how that extra extension of the extra mile has perhaps lent to your success, to the happiness of your clients, to the memories of, sitting down under the needle and the outcome of that.
When I was younger, I was into arts and like drawing people and like doing portraits of people around me, just drawing people around me. Really, my mom had in the palenque, is a little store in the big marketplace in Philippines. Mm-hmm. And I would always draw people around me.
Just right there in the stores.
Yeah.
Is your natural
And
environment.
I didn't even know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Before, I thought I wanted to be a painter. I didn't even know what a painter would be doing, at that time. And my parents would want me to be like a civil engineer or like an
Mm.
architect or something in the, that involves drawing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we moved here back in 1996
Oh wow.
in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I was gonna do really, like as far as like going to college and everything. 2005, I kind of realized like I kind of want to be a tattoo artist, but I didn't know what route I should take, right?
When you say route,
And
you want to be a tattoo artist. Was it the style, or was it whether you wanted to?
I don't know anybody that would teach me really.
Ah, got you.
Yeah, so I figure I'm it's probably good to just get a job and do normal things, like a regular person would do,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
get a job and be good at that job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward later on, I would say around 2011, I kind of realized like maybe I should try get back to my what I like to do, which is art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just bought a machine and I kind of just did it on my own. Really, I'm a self-taught artist,
Oh
and
wow. Is that typical, Marvin, of tattoo artists? Is that the typical route?
um,
It's kind of like
it,
homegrown, self-taught, or what's the normal route?
it's not typical. The usual thing is you get an apprenticeship,
Yeah.
but I think it was my mind that's stopping me from really reaching out to like a shop or a tattoo artist.
Mm-hmm. For that mentorship or that apprenticeship.
Yeah, because at that time I think I'm not good enough.
Mm.
You know,
I can relate
and
to that.
I was like maybe they're not gonna they're not gonna accept me
Mm-mm.
for because like I'm probably not good enough. Um, until like later on, I realized like I'll just try to do it on my own. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, it's actually it became harder for me because you know you need to have a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish I did. I wish I did. I wish I was at that time. I wish I was more um, open to it. And it's not like I'm not open to it. It's just more like I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I should say it. I was scared. I was scared. I was scared to even like bring my artwork to a tattoo shop, like, and then I'm scared of getting denied.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
So the fear of
Uh,
denial kept you from taking a leap for help in trying it yourself. That's a big gamble.
yes.
That's a
Yeah.
big risk, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So where are you at now, Marvin? You didn't go through the apprenticeship, but our common friend Paco here is show me your work, show me your shop. It looks like you're doing pretty damn well. What's
Oh,
going on
thank
today?
you. Yeah. So fast forward later on, I learned on my own, and then I got better, right? And then I figured out that I want to learn how to. I mean, I want to get my license. I want to be a professional, like everybody else.
So you
On
know, I didn't even know about that. So can you explain what do you mean by license? And I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of my tattoos sitting in my garage, right, or sitting in somebody else's garage in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And you know, the guy who probably did most of my body, he was neighborhood, right? He got out of the pen and started tatting everybody from the neighborhood afterwards, right? And got really good and started doing shows. And is
Yeah.
pretty well recognized guy. But I didn't even realize that this is a license. And what kind of license is it?
Yeah. So I started out that way too, and it's kind of hard when you come from that, that environment, because you want it to be legit, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of hard to get out of that. Just doing it on doing it in your house,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. Take on some overhead, right? Take on some expenses when you go the other route, right?
That too, but like in my state where I live at, it's not that easy. Like other states, you can just send your application and do some online classes, and you'd be good to go, right? And then pay the fee, right? Of course. But in Oregon, you have to go to school for it.
Oh, really? So you can't just be a great artist, know how to handle the needle, and then hit it. You've got to go through some sort of formal training or formal coursework.
Yeah, like more like theory, and pretty much you got to go to school. It's kind of like a regular school where you take nursing and you gotta.
Yeah. So I run vocational schools here in California. We train dialysis technicians, and it sounds like this is pretty similar, like a theory component, and then probably some sort of I don't know if you call it like a hands-on demonstration or something like that. Is that something you'd had to do? Like demonstrate your skills and infection control and things like this?
Infection control, yeah. Like sanitary and all the stuff that you need to know.
Yeah.
About skin and skin diseases and all that stuff.
So you went through all that. I have an idea of where you're at today, but you went through the licensing, or the schoolwork and the coursework. You went through the licensing, and today Marvin Rivera is what's the name of your shop?
My shop is called Mariposa Tattoo Studio,
Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
Awesome. And how's things going with that?
Things are going well. Yeah. And I thank God for that, because it's been a long journey since I started.
When did you get it started, Marvin?
2017.
2017. So you're about 10 years. Well, sorry, not 10 years. 7 years into your run now. What does the future look like?
Summertime of 2017. Yeah.
What does the future look like? Do you have a single shop? Do you have multiple shops? What sort of structure do you have? Do you have artists that work underneath you or that work alongside you? What's business like today?
It's a private shop right now. Yeah.
Private shop.
Yeah, it's like a private studio. Just me. Yeah.
Gotcha. So Marvin Rivera, every piece of work that comes out of that shop is Marvin Rivera.
Yes.
That's awesome. So you've established a brand, and the people who come through your shop would be able to kind of boast that they've got the famous Marvin Rivera inked on their skin, huh?
Yeah, I won't say famous, but yeah. It took a while. It took a while to build that. Build the name.
So Marvin, I really like to focus in on passion. The title of our podcast is Musings with Morales, and that was kind of a tough assignment for me when we were starting a podcast to figure out, like, hey, what do we really want to make this about? And it's deep thoughts. I have a medical background, and prior to that, I got a street background and a knucklehead background, right? But I stay up in my head a lot, and I think about things, and I remember in 2007 and 8, I had been teaching this specialty that I have, which is dialysis,
Right.
for at that time about 7 years, and I really loved what I did. I mean, I got a great sense of purpose in teaching, and then seeing the results and the outcomes of what I taught. Right, it was serving people, yeah. And at a certain point, I was like, I want to do this on my own. You know, I want to have my own business. I want to put my special sauce on it. It sounds like, you know, you kind of had that right out the gate as well, as that you want to put Marvin Rivera, you know, the brand of Marvin Rivera all over everything you do. But it's a scary thing. I can remember thinking like, what am I going to do without a job working for somebody else, right? And when it comes down to working for myself, how am I going to keep myself from treating the business like a bank account or like an ATM? So I'm curious, did you have the same sort of fears when you were starting things up? Was it scary? What were you coming from? You mentioned you made up your mind, but what were you coming from, and how did that feel to take the leap from doing something that maybe was, I think in your words you said, like a normal people thing or a normal job, into, you know, really your passion, your creativity, your artistry? What was that like? Was it scary? Was it something that you knew you could do and you had no doubts? Can you share a little bit about that?
You know what, man? I got no fear, bro. I didn't feel that feeling at all, man.
That's
I'm just kidding.
no, you're
I'm
like,
just
just
kidding,
kidding. Huh?
brother. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, bro. It was very scary, man. Like the feeling that you feel in your gut that it's all gonna work out, but at the same time, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to explain it, man.
But you're waiting for proof of concept, right? I mean, I can remember that. Like I had been doing it for years for other people, but to do it on my own seemed all brand new. It seemed like, well, I could make other people millions of dollars, but to make myself $1 on my own was, you know, I think I had a bit of a imposter syndrome. if I'm using that term, like, you know, who are you to be doing this, right?
Right.
So yeah, it makes 100% sense. And you know, your story, as you've told so far, is already expresses that level of passion. But what does it mean to you today to be a tattoo artist? What's the joy that you gain from your creativity? Is it in your own creativity, or is it what you give to your clients?
Okay. So before I started tattooing, I was already a barber.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I started. I learned cutting hair when I was around 12.
Okay.
It was back in the Philippines before I got here, and
12
you know,
years old.
yeah, 12 years old, 12 years old, man. Yeah, it was because my sister wanted to be. Well, she's trying to learn cosmetic. What's that? Cosmetology. Sorry,
Okay.
that's cosmetology.
Mm-hmm.
And I was intrigued, you know, and I was like, man, that looks cool. Like maybe, you know, I wanted to learn how to cut hair, you know, and I ended up learning how to cut hair at that time. And my
I gotta
mom,
ask, who was your guinea pig at 12 years old, man? I gotta ask this.
it was my cousin.
All right.
My
Or who was
cousin
the model, right?
Bino. We were at sixth grade. Actually, we were at sixth grade. We were graduating from sixth grade,
Mm-mm.
and he was like, "You cut my hair." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Okay, let's try it." And then so I just cut a little bit of his hair, like in the back, and like it was really like a low fade, and
Okay.
you know. And like, I don't have
I don't have
a
no
machine
problems with
for the
my
front
fades
to like cut
anymore,
a more
man.
screen, right? That's how I was cutting to, using scissors. It's really low, and it was not bad at all.
Very cool.
Yeah, it started from there, and then like my curiosity just grew after that, and I started cutting everybody's hair, like my classmates and my neighbors and everybody. And then I got better,
Were you charging for this, Marvin, at that time? At 12 years old, were you
and then
charging?
I started charging
Okay.
people 10 pesos,
All right.
10 pesos
All right.
per cut. Yeah.
And that's like what, a penny? I don't know. 50 for $1 right now. 55 for $1
Quarter.
right now, right?
Quarter dollar.
Today that'd be 10 cents, yeah, or 11 cents or something like
Or
that.
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap.
Mm.
But you're gonna go home and you cut in your side. You'll be bleeding when you go. Because like I use the blade, right? I figured like later on in my life, I kind of gained a lot of experience from that, and as far as customer service and like
Yeah, I'm really
making
interested in
people
that.
happy,
Making people happy.
Yeah. So so that was my actually when I was when I cut hair, if you it after the haircut, if you're not happy, I'm not happy.
Mm.
That means I didn't do my job.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do my job right. So my goal is to make you happy, to make you really like your haircut. When I was younger, I kind of learned that through that, through cutting hair. And
that's where you gained your
in tattoo,
I guess
yes,
your expectation that when you serve somebody that they're happy.
yes,
If they're
serving,
not, that's affecting you.
serving, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's very big for me. It's very big for me.
Where does that come from, Marvin? Because I mean, you mentioned that's where it started, but I'm just gonna, circle back to my recent trip to the Philippines, where there was an expectation on every encounter with anybody, whether they were, doing a service like a haircut or a tattoo, to even bringing a bottle of beer or bringing a meal or helping us at the airport. That from the beginning to the end, that it was an experience that was pleasant. And also something that I really noticed, that the workers in the Philippines really downplayed their efforts to kind of say that it's nothing, that it wasn't any sweat off their back to be able to help you. I'll give an example. We left the hotel. We were staying at the Dusit in Makati. And I mean, I just taken notice of things. Like I said, I truly fell in love with the Filipino culture in this visit, where the bellman, and I can think about bellmen in the United States, and it's like, well, where's your ticket number? And okay, here's your bags, and load them in your car. But these people actually helped us open our bags and like arrange the whole bag, and then do the whole cover and put it in the car and tie it up. And it was like until it was done, 100%. They weren't trying to go like, are you good? They were trying to say like, let me make sure you're good before I even start to walk away. So you grew up in the Philippines, right? You said, when did you come to the US again? What year? 90s?
96. I was 14.
14. So yes. You've got 14 years of cultural pounding, right? I mean, I just felt the culture that like you can't deny it, like you can here in the United States. Like a lot of the US born Filipinos, I don't see them doing the same things as I saw the Filipinos in the Philippines. Is that part of that etiquette that you have towards 100% customer satisfaction?
I think so.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I feel like if you grow up in the Philippines, it's like a natural thing. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna learn it like from where you live, where you go to school, and wherever. it's just part of who you are, really, in the Philippines. I don't know why, but it's just the way it is. That's
People
just the way it is.
pleasing
Like
and
it's like you're expected to do more than you're supposed to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
again, back to the extra mile not costing a thing, right? And I learned a little bit about community, and I'm going to forget the word. Maybe Paco or maybe you, Marvin. What's that word for like when the Filipino helped with the bamboo sticks to move the homes from one place to another when people moved? You guys know that word? Yeah. So I learned a little bit about that, and
Say it.
Matt, say it again one more time. Bayanihan.
There you go.
All right, I got it. It's just I can't tell you how profound this visit was, but even hearing your story here, Marvin, I hear that sense of community from the 12-year-old cutting all the people's hair, or maybe even younger, drawing all the people in your community just in your natural surrounding. What does community mean to you now that you're here in the U.S. and you're in Portland, Oregon? Like, is there still that sense of community and interest in the betterment of your neighbor?
Yeah, it plays a big part of my life. Even now, especially now, really, that I have a business and that I'm part of the music, the community of the music community.
Tell me about that, because I saw a flyer recently. I need to know what's your interest in music, and how are you supporting communities through, I guess, your support or your participation in music as well.
I am part of the music community as far as like they like their music to be played, famous or non-famous. I want them to be known, because I feel like not a whole lot of Filipinos that are talented and musically inclined.
Wait, hold on.
That,
I need a backup. Did you say that you feel like not a whole lot of Filipinos are musically? Because I
no.
okay.
What I mean is
like, man, I don't know a Filipino. Maybe I haven't met all those Filipinos yet, but Marvin,
Oh.
I visited an office, right? We just did an acquisition in the Philippines. They sang songs for us. It was incredible.
No, that's not exactly. Let me finish. Yeah, that's not what I'm trying to say. Not a whole lot of Filipino who are musically inclined, who are talented, are getting enough exposure.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Such a talented population as a whole.
Right? Yeah, there's. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of Filipinos there that are so talented that they're not even getting exposure at all.
Yeah,
really. And I wanted to spread that out. Like, I wanted people to know who you are, like whoever you are,
Yeah.
And that was really the main goal. Really is to help other artists to,
and that's what you are. You're an artist, so it speaks to your soul to help other artists.
And I know how that feels.
Yeah,
I know how that feels when you're just like you just play in your garage and you don't got no audience.
That's interesting. I mean,
and
that's a sense of integrity right there, isn't it? I mean, with an artist that is creating for no audience, that's real integrity behind what your passion is. I can think about tattoo artists that I know, and they got the fake skins, right? And how many hours they're putting in on those fake skins. Well, nobody's watching that, right? Nobody's seeing those in most cases, but it's the integrity of creating your art, refining your art, so that you can share it in a better as a better product. Really appreciate that. I think that's a noble cause there. to help other artists to be seen, to show what they've built through those hours that nobody else sees, the practice, right? The renderings, the mock-ups, all these sort of things, to where when they present it to somebody, the audience is delighted. And good friend right here, Paco, like I've seen his historical footage, I guess, but I've also had the chance to see him in person, and it's like, man, I gotta tell you, I am the most unartistic person ever. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't dress, I can't draw. What else is there? Whatever it's artistic or creative, I'm not very good at it.
No way.
But I always, he knows this. I always wish that I could, any of those things: sing, dance, draw, sculpt. Man, tattoo, I could maybe save some money and start hitting myself up. So I gotta say that I'm envious of folks that have that creative in them, and I'm envious of you, Marvin. And in all honesty, what I gotta ask. It's obvious that artistry, creativity is your passion. I guess two questions. I'll start with one: is like, what's your style? Like, what's your artistic style? What do you like to tattoo? If I said to you, like, hey, here's my head, just go to town, what would it be? If it was no holds barred, I just said, do what you want to do.
Dragon Ball Z.
Are you talking something about this very round head?
No. Before that, I want to tell you, like, because you were telling me, like, oh yeah, so you don't have that creativity and like the artistry and everything. I might have it, and other people might have that kind of talent or creativity, but you do have your own.
Right. Yeah. There's everybody, right?
Yeah, you don't have your own that I don't have. Yeah, so that means that what you can do, I can't do. Right? You know what I'm saying?
I do. Thing. I do get what you're saying. Everybody's got some unique flavor, and I think to kind of, I guess, acknowledge that a little bit. I find a lot of times my creativity is not necessarily in something you see, but more in a way you think about things. I gotta tell you, I'm always like down to the wrist, up to the neck, right? Because I'm typically in rooms with people that they haven't experienced the things in life that I experience, the good or the bad. But they just wouldn't feel comfortable with my tattoos, right? I sit in business in board meetings and take very complex issues, quite often simplify them. And then it's like, well, that's a unique way of looking at things. And yeah, I'd say that's my creativity, is finding something that's very complex and just saying it in, 2 to 3 bullet points, right? Somebody told me a long time ago, and it's not a unique saying, but KISS, right? So I had this doctor that I was helping with different projects, and he kept, at the end of his text, he'd say KISS. And I was like, man, are you hitting on me or what? Right? I didn't know what he was talking about. Keep it simple, stupid. Right. And like that stuck with me till today, that like, if you can simplify things to people in a way that they can understand, that's the easiest way to execute on different sort of ideas. So I think, creativity, that would be my talent. And I'll acknowledge that, I have a special skill there. But as far as things, the way things look, my wife dresses me, she buys my shoes, and we still don't look too good, but, I'm completely dependent on that. Right. As far as the aesthetics of a home or, I think the one area I have an opinion is cars. I do like cars, so I can kind of tell you like which car I like, which color, which kind of rims, things like that. You build a car, right? So yeah, I appreciate that. As far as the style, what's your style? Do you draw from your roots? Does it come from your childhood? While I was visiting the Philippines, and I can't remember her name, but somebody told me, you have to go see this lady who like does the tapping, right? And
Apple, yeah.
yeah, and I was like, man, I would totally do that. So what's your style? What do you like to get down with?
I don't have a specific style right now.
Mm.
Before I wanted to be just doing black and gray portraits
Mm-hmm.
type of style.
Mm-hmm.
I changed that. I thought that I would just want to do that, and then I figured maybe it would be better for me if I learn all styles.
Mm.
So I ventured out and tried to learn everything. Really,
Mm-hmm.
I tried not just doing portraits. I tried doing a tribal Filipino
Okay.
tribal.
Mm-hmm.
I tried doing like fine lines, anything with lines. I was trying to avoid that before too because lines are
Yeah.
tattooing. It's a pretty uh, it's pretty hard to be pulling lines like real nice lines in
Yeah.
tattooing.
Yep.
To be honest,
Yep.
and I'm glad that I did. I did venture out that way. Now I'm pretty good at it, at
Mm-hmm.
least,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Focused on the hard, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm glad I did. And now, I'm not scared at all. Like I do everything now. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I try to do everything now. Really.
Do you have tattoos also, Marvin?
Yes, yes, I do.
What do you got?
I,
What's the style
I
on your body?
have I have it's kind of like a ship, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and it means this represents when I went to Alaska and I worked in a boat,
Okay.
you know, and
Fisherman
then
or crab or what?
what's up?
You did fisherman or crab? I don't know.
Oh,
Crab
I was
harvesting.
pretty much just it's like a cleaning fish, really. Yeah, nothing special, just a
Mm-hmm.
regular job, And then I have eagle right here. This represents God, Jesus
Mm-hmm.
protecting me, and I have a dragon here, and same thing. It's supposed to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have more here. It's I can't see it.
You got a lot.
This
I can't
is
see it. What is that?
yeah. This is Mary and Jesus, and then I have I can't pull it up, but it's called it's my fraternity. It's called Dimole.
So all of these
And
are very meaningful to you. And,
yeah,
and to pull back on my recent trip, like I got to say that another thing that really impressed on me in the Philippines was compared to the United States, because it seems like today faith is a bad word. Faith is something that breaks the political correctness of other agendas or other priorities in the U.S. lifestyle right now. But when I was in the Philippines, I saw God everywhere. I saw God either in the at least the dominant to my view was through the Catholic Church, and then also through Islamic faith as well. But it's very present, and some of the things that we're arguing about in the United States right now were not even issues in the Philippines. That like it wasn't being talked about. So it sounds like you've got a strong root towards your faith as well. Again, I'll kind of ask the question, like, where was that? Where did that start? Did that start with those first 14 years in the Philippines, or is that something that was brought on while you're here in the U.S. and some sort of introduction here?
so I grew up in a Catholic, environment. My
Mm-hmm.
parents are Catholic, and it's like how my parents told me, like I was like do good,
Mm-hmm.
try to do good, you know. And later on in my when I was growing up, searching for the truth, really. And I kind of figured that there's a lot of things that we all don't know yet.
Yeah.
Not even religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm open minded. You know, there are things that we don't know, but it doesn't mean that like just shut ourselves from
Everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I've got a very open mind as far as faiths in the world, and I think one thing that I would say I'm solidly in belief in is that faith is better than none.
Yeah.
I've encountered a lot of people in my life that had different faiths, and I've encountered a lot of people that are chronically ill. And the one thing I can say is those that have faith are more at peace with illness, are more at peace with end of life, are more at peace with their family,
Yeah.
the losses and the gains of life. So I kind of say it this way, and it may be a little bit of a joke, but I don't care if it's a tree in your backyard. Like, it's better than no faith. And like you said, we don't know. We will not know, right? Until we expire and we see what's next.
True.
So again, like I'm all for it, but it was palpable in the Philippines that there was such a connection to faith and a connection of the faith to the culture and the faith to the respect for elders. Just really, really palpable. And again, part of the reason why I really fell in love with the country. So let's get back to the tattoo and the personal side of the tattoo. You mentioned that you kind of have adopted all styles or adapted to all styles. And that sounds like it's probably for the customer's sake, because people come in and they want different things, right? They have different ways that they want to express this memorialization of the moment or of the one they lost or the things that they like or whatever it is. So what's the most personal to you tattoo that you've delivered? And then conversely, what's the most personal to your client tattoo that you've delivered? So starting with you, like when you delivered a tattoo, which one touched your heart the most or really made you walk away going like, I did something special here for somebody?
Anything that's like when somebody passed is very different. Well, like when you're tattooing somebody that like going through, what do you call that when somebody passed and you're going through
Morning.
Mourning.
mourning.
Grieving.
Yeah. It's hard not to be in that, not feel that same thing, because you can tell that they're going through some hard stuff.
Yeah.
And what I guess what I'm really blessed about it is I can go through it with them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I can try to give them comfort. You know what I mean?
So there's a sense of empathy, or you're kind of an end road for them, like an empath, that you absorb some of the emotion or the trauma that they've experienced in these sort of memorializing tattoos of a loss of a loved one. I give you something personal, and you can probably see it right here. I had a time in my life where, I had severe mental illness and was contemplating the worst, right? And I had to tell myself that, well, I don't know if I told myself or if I was lucky enough to have people around me, right, that spoke to me and said, this is not the end, right? And there are moments where, like the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job, the loss of a home, and other things, right? Traumas in life that could make you feel like there's nothing that could ever be good, right? So like this is like one of the most personal tattoos, just a small semicolon, right? But it really means your story's not over, right? like when you're
Yeah.
speaking, and then you get to that point where it's like the sentence is over, but nope, it's not. And for quite a long time, I put that on me to remind myself to get out of those feelings of like, this is it, like, this is the worst that life is going to get, and it's never going to get better, and there's only one way out, right? And that's the worst way to go. So thinking about what you're saying as far as memorializing losses, memorializing well, really, like I said, losses, loved ones, maybe even celebrations of life. That really rings true and resonates with me, that you can empathize with that, take on the feelings of your client, but also leave them with something that hopefully is going to give them a reminder that, like this, that the story's not over, or that loss of a loved one, that you still have their memory, right? You still have, in some cases, maybe you believe that you're going to see them again, and that's what that tattoo or that memorialization is bringing to them, is that, like, a reminder that there's a day that's going to be better. There's a day that we'll be together again. There's a day that this will all be over, whatever it is. So is that something that rings true for you as well, aside from the empathy that there's, of what they're going through, that that there's a reminder on a day by day with this tattoo that could perhaps save their life?
Yeah. Sometimes you don't even know what to say, really.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in that situation, like every time I just stay quiet, because like I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But just being there to listen to what they have to say, I feel like that's so important and so precious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so humbling for you to, for them to tell you what they're going through. That's
So there's this saying, Marvin, like ink therapy, right? Do people come to you telling
Yeah.
that, like, it's time for some ink therapy, right? Do you feel like a therapist?
Oh yeah, for reals. Yeah, I feel like that for a long time. Yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to be getting paid. Yeah, being a therapist. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, that's just. I feel like that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's really up to you as a tattoo artist if you're, you're more sensitive about that.
Yeah. I think I faced, different types as far as tattoo artists, but something I just thought of is, like, the barber's really a similar environment, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
Of course, you can tell I need the barber regularly, but used to go to the barber. It was Mexican barber shops, and man, the conversations and the camaraderie that would happen there. Actually, if I were to compare anywhere in the United States to the Philippines, it would be a Mexican barbershop. Yeah, you walk in and you got to shake everybody's hands, everybody's smiling, eye contact. A lot of hospitality in the Mexican barbershops versus, like, if you went to Supercuts or something. I don't know if they still have Supercuts or not, but it's just something like that, right? Much different environment, drinking beer. Sometimes other things are going on in the barbershop as well, but it's definitely a time of bonding, a time of therapy for a lot of people, because typically, like, a Mexican barbershop's going to be like all men, and people are talking about their wives and their girlfriends and their mistresses and all, all that sort of stuff.
I know. Exactly.
So similar conversations in the tattoo shop.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was the same.
I can imagine, because I've been under many hours of tattooing. Like, I'm like full jacket, right? For the most part, I might have a few inches here and there. Hands are still open, which I'll never do those, because I aside from today, I pretty much cover up all the way down to up to my neck, down to my wrist. But I've been in cases where, like, I've tapped out, tapped out after 10 hours, tapped out after 2 hours. You know, I've had days where I sat down and the first time the needle touched me, it hurt so bad that like it gives me high blood pressure. Never passed out, but you know, I think I've got enough self-control to go like, hey, this is, yeah, I'm done, right?
Right.
What's the craziest thing you've seen? Somebody sitting down getting tattoos. I've heard that tapping really hurts, as it's a lengthy process. But what's the craziest thing you've seen in relation to clients coming in and their pain tolerance and how they react to that?
Crazy thing is like when they sleep on me, man.
Fall asleep.
Yeah, bro.
I've done that.
Yeah. So you're
done that.
crazy, bro.
Yeah, I've done that. But
Yeah.
like I said, there's days where it hurts so bad the second it goes in. That, you
Okay.
know, every minute is like torture, right? I'm tensing up every 2-3 seconds. So you think it's pretty crazy when they actually fall asleep while they're getting
That's crazy, bro. I don't know. I can't comprehend it. They're just sleeping on me. They're snoring on me. You know.
Girls or guys? Who's got the higher tolerance?
Mostly girls.
Really? Really? So are they the ones who fell asleep on you?
You know, the one. See, cause like I don't have girls that would get like big pieces, like sleeves or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
So I can't at the moment. I can't really say that girls have more tolerance than guys. You know.
Mm-mm.
And I feel like it's it depends on the person as well. But there are girls that don't have it.
That wine.
And same thing with the guys,
Yeah.
So it's hard to say really like what's the percentage of like who has more tolerance, girls or guys,
Yeah. I've unfortunately had, maybe fortunately, I don't know, because I really love everybody who's done tattoos on me, but like I said, guy who did most of my body, like you can't take the pain. It's kind of joke, it's going to be kind of a joke.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, Eddie Chapa, a good friend of mine. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's been in the convention circuit for a long time. Blood, Ink, and Tears is his organization, and I think he actually just bought a different. I think it's called Sacred Heart Tattoo in Boston. But he did his wife's whole body, and she can sit down for like 10 hours straight, man. So when he's tattooing you and you can't take an hour or two, like it's gonna be like, oh man, she's got like throat tattoos and stuff like that. And yeah, you're gonna get made fun of. It doesn't have the lightest hand either. So all right. So craziest thing is when they sleep. Have you had anybody that's like had any sort of crazy reactions? Whether they be swollen up, excess bleeding, passing out, throwing up. I can remember when I was really young, and a friend of mine, like, we ended up getting tattoos at the same time, or the same day as a girl, and man, sounded like she was having an orgasm when she was getting her tattoo. It was just ridiculous, man. It was like, I don't know if she was doing it on purpose or what, but it was just moaning and. So anything like that just like, people in the shop are looking at like, what the hell's going on there, or ready to call the paramedics or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. But
it's like, I never had those clients.
I did have people passing out. Yeah, like they start sweating. Like so, I in the beginning, I kind of like. I don't know how to, like, I can't tell if they're going to pass out or not, right?
Oh, okay.
So, and then, like, as time goes on, like, when I encounter people who are passing out, first, they're kind of, like, antsy about it, right? So, you got to let yourself know, like, okay, so this person might pass out, right?
Like getting like fidgety or
yeah, and they're all worried about it or asking questions and like, is it gonna hurt or something like that,
themselves out
and,
from the get-go.
Yeah, and and they just turned 18. That's yeah. You gotta be, you know, kind of like be ready. Be ready for anything. Yeah. So and then like when you start tattooing them, uh, you gotta recognize. You gotta recognize if if they're feeling uncomfortable or
Cold, clammy, sweaty, that sort of
cold,
stuff.
sweating. Um,
I
like
sweat all the time, Marvin, so
they
that
need
wouldn't
air.
bother
They
me
ask
then.
you like, oh yeah, can I grab some air?
Mm.
Hey, can I get some air from outside?
Yeah,
That means they're gonna pass out.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't wanna. Yeah, you don't want. Yeah, you don't wanna tell them to stay on the chair because if you let them go outside, they're gonna pass out outside and they
Yeah,
might
yeah.
hit their head or something
Hmm.
from falling down, right?
So that
So
that 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 trip to get some air is actually like
yeah,
they're panicking, and that standing
yeah,
up could have a physiologic change that they drop on you, huh?
yeah. And then you're gonna be responsible for that,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so those kind of things. If you see them start sweating like crazy, then that means yeah, they're not doing good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
calm down, like chill out and relax and you know maybe give them something to eat, like something with sugar. Yeah, that's and then you go back again, and then they should be good at that
Go for
time.
as long as you can go, right?
Yeah, cause like, dude, man, like I see people like just passing out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then like they go outside and pass out on the outside, outside, and you don't want that to happen, and because you don't know what's gonna happen.
All right, I want to share an experience with you actually, and kind of get your take on it. So I'll say about 2005 or so, I mentioned to you that I work in dialysis. So I was a dialysis technician, and I was working in dialysis clinic in La Palma, California, which is kind of a white collar, um, high average household income, good education, white people. Um, a good mix of Asian as well, Korean in those neighborhoods. And I was taking care of a Korean patient. I should say there was a Korean patient in my clinic. She was mid 50s, and the scrubs that you wear are kind of like this, right? Right about mid bicep. She would never let me take care of her, and I worked in this clinic for a few years. I had known her for a couple years already. She would never let me touch her. And one day I got the courage to ask her, Mrs. So and so, what is it that makes you not want me to take care of you? Because I was like the trainer. Not only that, I was working in a school at the time, and I taught all the people in the clinic. So I taught people in the school, then they came to the clinic, then I was their trainer. I was like the lead tech. I could fix everything. I could troubleshoot. Like, I was good. And she wouldn't let me touch her. But somebody brand new would come in and she'd let them touch her, work with her. So I asked her, what is it? And she said, well, you have a lot of tattoos and you look like a criminal. And I can remember the feeling, man. Like, because at that time I already cared about people, like I wanted to help them live their life by giving dialysis to them. And this lady was denying me that opportunity to help her because I looked like a criminal. And I can't say that she was wrong in what she was reading, because I probably covered up some of them by now, but some of them that's what they were. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of convicted by my own ink, that, what I see is what is reality, right? Because what people see or what people perceive as their reality. Yeah. Like if I grew up in a place where the only people who have tattoos like me are drug dealers or gang members or, killers or whatever it is, right? And then I see me, the reality is that I see a criminal. Any experiences like that for you? Like, and I know it's, times are changing. But I got to tell you that broke my heart. And I wore long sleeve shirts after that every day in my professional career. I never showed my tattoos again, which I'm not ashamed of my tattoos, but I love tattoos, right? I got another one just recently in the Philippines, but I also respect what people perceive. And in my career as a healthcare professional, it seemed to be a hindrance. I have other colleagues that go like, I'm the same person with tattoos or without, right? But I have that, I guess, respect for people's perception that I don't want to blow them, I don't want them to blow me off from the first sight. So I'm curious if you've had similar experiences, or any of your clients have said similar things like, I can't go to work now. My son's got a neck tattoo and I told him not to do that. But, the reason I told him is because people are going to look at him and in certain cases just not give him the chance. So what can you say about that?
Yeah, I used to work at a hospital actually in Kaiser, downtown LA. Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
I used to work there, and I could tell like that, like other nurses were looking at my muscles.
Oh yeah.
Not looking at my tattoos, right? Yeah. And I didn't really care. Yeah, that was just me, man. I didn't really care, bro.
You didn't care what they thought. What about your patients? Did any of them, were you working with patients?
I wasn't I wasn't a nurse. I wasn't. I was in the materials department, so I was delivering, the supplies for the floor, right?
Okay.
Maybe at that time I didn't really care a lot. Like, I have tattoos. I didn't really care about what other people think of me,
Yep.
I feel like that was me, They like me, they like me. They don't like me, I don't care,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I encountered a lot of situations like that. Maybe I did, but I probably didn't recognize it because I didn't care a lot about it.
Yeah. It wasn't on your first priority list.
I didn't really think about it that way. That was just me. You know what I mean? That was just me.
Yep.
Yeah, I was saying when I went to Philippines, when I had my first big ass tattoo of my arm.
They frowned on it.
I would say that they're like, oh yeah, laki tattoo mo. Like that's a big tattoo, but it's like why? It's more like why. Why did you have it? What I mean?
So while I was there, I went out one night, right? And I was with a partner and he tells me, oh, let's walk home. This is just a few days ago. Let's walk home. I hope he's watching because like I kicked his ass on the way home. Literally kicked his ass. Like I was so pissed off because we're walking from this club pretty far from our hotel. But he tells me it's just right there. So we're walking and it rained the next day. So it was humid that morning, right? And I didn't know, like, I don't know the etiquette there, right? I need to go back and practice that stuff still. But I took off my shirt while I'm walking and I'm blasted, right? And some of it's a little bit ugly, maybe a little bit scary. So I got lost and I got separated from my business partner. So I'm alone and it's so humid. I'm dripping sweat. So I take off my shirt and I call my wife and I'm like, hey, I don't know where the hell I'm going. So she's calling family, and we're all on FaceTime, and I'm walking with my shirt off on FaceTime, and they're like, "Oh no, put your shirt on, put your shirt on. It's illegal to do that. You're gonna get like pulled over, and you're gonna go to jail." But like quite honestly, it was a safety net for me. The opposite of my patient. Like I felt like my tattoos were like a shield almost of anybody who's going to try and mess with me on the street. They're going to think
Oh yeah.
they're going to think
Got
twice because like, hold on, like, okay, am I going to take the time? But I come to find out that nobody gives a crap about how you look there. They're just going to pull up on a bike and and rob your ass, right? But yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I you know, I was wearing my tattoos proud that day or that night. But I can honestly say that, you know, like I said, I'm not ashamed of my tattoos, and that day with that patient, it made me feel bad because there's somebody I wanted to help. I did care about what she thought, you know what I mean? I did care about the sense of safety or danger that she perceived with me. And I think it's something that the generation today, you know, it's different today, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
it's much more normal. So I tell this story to people, and they're like, "Oh, you know, some of the top tattoo artists out there today are now Korean." And it's becoming more part of the culture. But for this lady who was in her mid 50s in 2005, the reality for her was that the only time she saw tattoos like this was among people who were there to hurt her or to rob her, or, you know, things like this. So I think there's something to be said about like bias, right? Like we all got some bias in us. You mentioned like the skin color, right? That's actually something I noticed in the Philippines as well. Was like, oh no, they're dark. Oh no, they're really white. With the glutathione, you know, drip and pill and the soap that makes you white and stuff like this, right? So there are biases out there, yeah, and the way we look, people make prejudice against us. You know, hearing from somebody like you, and meeting my nephew in the Philippines, it's therapeutic, man. I think you should keep doing what you're doing and sharing the love that you give through your needle. It means a lot to people. You told stories today about people who came there to memorialize their loved ones, and you know, there's no stronger memory than something that sits on you every single day, just like your loved one would have been doing if they were still around, right? So I respect what you're doing, Marvin. I think that, you know, the perception you have of this is me is the right way to think about things. I hope that the clients out there and the youth, that when they put things on their body, that they make good decisions and not put things that are going to demonize themselves, you know? So on that note, is there a tattoo that you wouldn't do? You know, that you don't feel comfortable in doing? Because I've met many tattoo artists, and when it comes to like demon shit and, you know, satanic, some of them, they're like, nope, I won't do those things because I take it home. So is there anything like that like that for you, that like that's off limits? That's not a tattoo that I'll put on somebody's body. One guy told me, I don't want to put your spouse's name on you. That's going to break you up, right? So is there anything like that for you?
That's a good question, man. I never came across with that kind of stuff, like the, you know, demonic type of thing, or even if maybe if they asked me about it, I probably wouldn't even know that it was demonic. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, is that something that'd be off limits for you? You've got very deep faith tattoos on yourself. What if there was?
I don't know what's demonic.
You don't know what's the demonic?
Like, yeah, you know, if I know about it, then like that's demonic, then I'd probably say, yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to do that.
Inverted cross or I mean, what about like hate stuff? You know, like there are symbols out there that symbolize hate towards others. Like, is that something that's off limits for you? Or
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, no.
and
Yeah,
you know, no judgment
I'm
if
not gonna do it.
hey, if you just put it
Yeah,
on.
yeah. If it involves something about like hatred towards other human being, then
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm against that. You know. Um,
So it's not just a dollar for you. Then there's things that there are
no,
limits.
yeah, there, yeah, yeah. Obviously, yeah, yeah. If it's something that like against my belief that let's say this symbol is against other races,
Hmm.
no, I wouldn't do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not something that I wouldn't be proud of it doing it
Yeah,
really. So I'm not gonna
something
do
to
it.
keep you up at night, probably, huh?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. So I want something to put on your skin that is memorable to you, but at the same time, it's as long as it's not something that's like it's foul. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I get you. So last question before the final thoughts of the night, and I really appreciate you for jumping on this late in the evening, and thank your family for sacrificing a little bit of your time tonight. Um, do you have children, Marvin?
Yeah, I have one. Yep,
Okay,
I have a
uh, you said girl, boy,
daughter. Yep,
daughter.
girl.
How old?
She's 4.
Oh wow, congrats! That's a great age. Great age. I have four. I have a 26-year-old, a 23-year-old, 19-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And
Uh,
the 20. Well, I think three of them have tattoos already. And my oldest daughter, she's got a decent amount of tattoos across her back, her shoulders, her arms. Good artwork. My son has got a full chest plate, a little bit of his back, full sleeves, and my youngest daughter, I don't really know what she has. I just know that my other kids told me she's got a tattoo, right? She's not going to show you. But like I think about my son and my 23-year-old son, and like he saw me, getting tattoos his whole life. And I don't know what I was thinking that he wouldn't get tattoos, but he started getting covered, right? And he's got his hands covered now, his neck covered, and I find myself like being against it with all these tattoos, right? Everything. I find myself going like, don't do that, you know? Uh, and again, I'm not ashamed of my tattoos. I think I have great art on my body and things that will really, they remind me of moments in my life and stories that some have been told and some haven't been told. And then I go like, well, maybe he's getting the same things and they're very meaningful to him, right? But I find myself like being a dad, and at this age, like, hey, don't do that, don't get your neck, don't get your hands, like these sort of things, and sure as shit, he's going to do everything that I tell him not to do, right? So let me ask you the question, and forgive me. Your 4-year-old daughter, she's 18 years old, and she says, "Dad, I want to get my back blasted," right? I got this really great art design that I want to get, and honest answer, like, what's your response at today, where you're sitting today? What's your answer to her, to your daughter when she says, "I want to get, I want to get my whole back covered with something that really means a lot to me"?
that's a great question because I never really thought about that.
I mean, one day you're gonna have to, man, because like
Yeah,
I didn't think about it. I was sitting in my garage and
yeah.
my kids are going like, "Cool, right?" They're like, "Yeah, that's great,
I
right?"
I
And
mean,
man, they watch us, right? Those little eyes are
yeah,
watching us,
they,
and they want to be. My son has many of the exact same tattoos as me, probably better artwork. He had to outdo me, but he
you
he
know,
really mimicked me. So Like, how does that make you feel? Like, what are your thoughts towards that
Yeah,
question to dad?
it's gonna happen sometime or another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because okay, I thought about it like on the arm, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I never really thought about like like doing the full back or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I noticed my daughter. She is very inclined to arts and music, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Just like you,
wouldn't be
huh?
surprised if you know she became a tattoo artist or became a tattoo enthusiast, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
collector or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I'm not like gonna be butthurt about it. It's just the way it is.
Let's
I
take it a
have it,
step further,
and then
man. Let's take it
huh?
a step further because you're the master inker, right? And
Yeah,
she says, Dad, I want to get it by John Smith up the street, and you're like, wait, hold on, like I got you. Like, how does that make you
yeah,
feel when she says, no, this guy does this style and it's special
right,
colors, and he's also going to do some branding on it too, and you don't do that,
yeah.
Dad. Like, how's that? What's that feel like?
That's fine, man. Because you know, because I'm not gonna say that like I can do everything, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you. Well,
Yeah,
that's a great attitude, man.
yeah,
Again, I want to thank you. I always like to leave a little bit something for whoever decides they want to listen to my ramblings and take some benefit of the guest that we have. You're a self-made uh, a self-made artist, a self-made business owner, and I actually have a lot of optimism that your business is going to scale. You've got a great philosophy, a great culture that I think needs to be shared, and maybe you've got junior artists in the future that you can mentor. Maybe it's your daughter. Maybe she's the next artist at the shop that you have, and she carries the legacy for you. But if you had to speak to a general audience about uh, pursuing your passion and let's really just say taking your passion to a point where it's putting food on your table, it's putting the house, the roof over your head, it's paying for the schools for your children, and the Jordans and the iPhones and things like this. Like how do we get there, man? Like you've got a unique story. What's your best advice to the kid out there that's, it sounds like you've got a strong affinity towards artists. What's your best advice on how to get from that drawing pictures of the people in the environment to actually monetizing this? And I hope I can say this, but it sounds like you haven't worked a day in your life because you love what you do. Or at least in regard to providing haircuts and tattoos and any sort of artistry. What's your best advice to those young creatives?
yeah. My best advice would be get your license. You know, get it legit. Like do it legitly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and practice a lot, and just keep on doing it, and always believe in yourself.
Mm.
No one's gonna believe in you except you. You have to, um, have that confidence that you have. You have to keep that confidence all the time, and don't fear, because once you start doubting yourself and you have fears, that's when you kind of like put down yourself and you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So you gotta keep believing that you can do it. You know, um, if you've been doing it and you know you're good, it's not gonna be really easy in the beginning. You know, you're gonna suck in the beginning, but if you keep on doing it, keep on practicing, you're gonna be better and better each day. And there will come a time where you're gonna say, like, man, I can't believe I'm right here right now because I kept doing it. You know?
I hear a few prevailing themes there is, one, the discipline that it sounds like you've really embraced in practice makes perfect, practice makes refinement, practice makes a better product. But speaking to the belief, I can double that. Like if you have somebody that believes in you, you're lucky. And
Yeah.
you should really know that those are the people that you should keep in your circle, right? Like people who believe in you while you suck, people who believe in you while you don't believe in yourself. Those are very rare, and more likely you find people that tell you can't do it and start to spit in your ear that what you really want to do is impossible, and that you should, to your words, go get a normal job, and do like the normal. And man, Marvin, you're not normal. You're exceptional.
AB normal.
And it takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to take that leap in belief of yourself when nobody else does, and then you get to a point where you've proven yourself, right? And all of a sudden, and I'm just speaking from my own experience, all of a sudden, people go like, "Hey, can you give me for free?"
Ooh.
Right? Like, hey. I'm going to tell you, I went to the Philippines and my nephew said, "Hey, I got you." I said, "No, you don't." Like, who's your biggest? Who should be your biggest supporter? Who should be the one that wants to pay the full price? Those that are your friends, those that believe in you, right? But quite often, I think the people that come back and say, "Hey," those are the same people that spit in your ear that you can't do it. Now you did it, and all of a sudden, you can do for them. Same experiences?
Yeah. There's people that believe and there's people that don't.
Yeah. Well, let's surround ourselves with those that believe in us. I believe in you, Marvin. I'm really glad that you took the time again to spend with us, share some of your wisdom and experiences, and we're definitely going to link up with your socials so that the viewers can check out your work. Portland, Oregon. Anybody who's out there, check out Marvin Rivera and get inked up. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Paco.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Take good care, guys.
This episode has been brought to you by Dialysis Education Services.